Hello, I am Dr. Michaela Dunbar, clinical psychologist and author, and I am here today to bust some mental health myths. There's a lot of myths going around. Social media is great for myths. Google is also even better. And I guess people are just trying to find a way to understand what's going on for them. But unfortunately, where they're getting the information from isn't always the best. So we end up with a lot of myths and people trying to maybe self-diagnose or get an understanding of why they feel like they do, but not necessarily from the right sources. Myth: people should be happy all the time, and if you aren't, there's something wrong with you. The truth is, emotions are like knickers, expect them to change all the time. So let's be honest, happiness is one of the emotions that feel the best. So it's no wonder that we want to feel happy all the time. However, I have to be honest with you, it's just not realistic. Guilt, anger, sadness, regret, these are all core emotions that actually keep us alive. So we need to feel the full range of emotions. And that, in my opinion, that is happiness. What you'll find is trying to avoid any specific emotion, whether it feels good or feels bad, can actually make you behave in a way that can keep the emotion there a bit longer. For example, let's say that you're about to go into doing a presentation and you're feeling really, really anxious, and you decide, I don't like anxiety, I don't want to feel anxious anymore, I'm just going to avoid the presentation, I'm not going to do it, or I'm going to make somebody else do it. Now, you feel good in the short term, right? And the emotion is gone for a little bit, you're not feeling anxious anymore. However, the next time you have to do a presentation, the anxiety is going to be a little bit higher, and then you're going to end up avoiding it again and again and again. And what you might find is, now that you've avoided the emotion, the opportunities have gone. So now you've got another problem. Now you're worried or anxious about the fact that people aren't asking you to do things. However, it was the anxiety that you tried to avoid in the first place that made you avoid it. Now we're getting less opportunity to do things. Now we've got more anxiety about the fact that we've got less opportunity, and we're just stuck in this cycle. And this happens with all kinds of different emotions. So avoiding emotions, this is not what we want to do. We need to pay attention to them when they're there, because they might be signaling something is actually wrong, in which case we're going to need to problem solve. Myth: you can control your emotions. Truth is, trying to control your emotions is like trying to control the weather. Growing up, we've all heard things like, don't be sad, don't be angry, be happy. And it kind of gave us a subconscious idea that we could actually control our emotions and that we should be able to change our emotions as soon as we want to. So it's no wonder that we grow up thinking that we have complete control over which emotions we feel. And whilst we do have some control over how we manage our thoughts, which impact our emotions to kind of change them a little bit, at the end of the day, we have so many different emotions. They are there for a reason. We need to feel all of them. So if you want to get better at learning how to manage your emotions, I'm going to recommend 3 things. Firstly, notice all the things that you do to try and avoid uncomfortable emotions. So when you're feeling anxious, what do you do to try and avoid that? When you're feeling angry, what do you try to do to avoid that? Then I want you to write down as well the outcome of the avoidance. So if you didn't go to the dinner party, what happened afterwards? If you didn't do the presentation, what happened afterwards? And then lastly, I want you to note how you ended up feeling after you did the behaviour designed to try and avoid the uncomfortable emotions. And the reason why I think it's really, really helpful to do this is because we want to learn to notice when we're trying to struggle with these emotions. I want us to notice when we're trying to avoid them and actually take note of the impact that it's having on our day-to-day life when we try to manage those emotions. The faster you notice that these behaviours aren't helping you and that you're actually stuck in a trap, the faster you'll be able to lift yourself out of it. Myth: thoughts are facts. Truth: although at times they might feel like facts, thoughts are more like stories. So we've all been there. We have a really negative thought, it really grips us, and as far as we're concerned, it's fact. Yes, we are useless. That person does hate us. We're not going to be successful. However, those thoughts that we have are actually just stories in our mind. They're literally words and images in our mind that we actually end up fusing with. Our brains are like a time machine. They're able to predict what might come in the future and also use our experiences from the past to help keep us safe in this present moment. Now, if we have a thought come into our mind, we have to pay attention to it. It could mean that there's danger, it could mean that we need to act, or it could mean that we need to change our behaviour in some way. Now, growing up, I don't think any of us were taught to question our thought. A thought comes into our mind and that's it. It's fact. However, that's not the case. We should be able to question our thoughts. So it's really good to have a range of what we call diffusion techniques on deck. So diffusion is essentially unhooking ourselves from those negative thoughts or unhelpful thoughts that we can't seem to shake and that make us feel really bad, essentially, and take us away from our values. So the easiest one and most simplest one that you can do at any point is whenever you notice an unhelpful thought, let's say that the thought is, I'm a loser, right? So you're having the thought, I'm a loser. Now what I want you to do is, instead of just saying I'm a loser, because that sounds really final, right? That sounds like it's fact. Remember I said thoughts are stories, they're not facts. So when you notice yourself having this unhelpful thought, I'm a loser, I want you to put in front of that thought, I just had the thought that. I just had the thought that I'm a loser. I just had the thought that I'm a failure. And actually what we're doing is detaching ourselves from the reality of this thought. As I said, we can't stop the thoughts coming into our brain, and this is not what we're trying to do. We're going to think about a whole range of things, but we really need to be clear about the fact that they are thoughts and not facts. And saying, I just had the thought that before the negative thoughts help us to put that into perspective. Myth: emotions control our behaviour. Truth: behaviour is not controlled by anything except our intention. It's completely understandable that we would think that our emotions control our behaviour. We do things on autopilot all day. We feel really scared, so we back away. We feel angry, so we may shout. We feel sad, so we might stay in bed. We don't necessarily question our behaviour, and we don't question the link between our emotions and our behaviour. It kind of just happens, or so we think. But out of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviour is actually the one thing that we do have control over. We just need to be able to be very intentional about managing that. So for example, let's say that we are scared of dogs. We've never been around dogs, we've not grown up around dogs, and we see a dog in the park at a distance. So our thoughts tell us, avoid, 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 that dog's gonna bite us. I don't know this scenario, I think it's gonna end up being bad. Naturally, that's going to trigger anxiety, and from the anxiety paired with the scary thought about the dogs, we're going to end up avoiding that dog. It's a natural and understandable behaviour to have. However, that behaviour can actually keep us scared of dogs when we don't actually really need to be. And the reason why is that when we avoid a situation, which naturally we all do when we're feeling anxious, but when we avoid that situation, we don't give ourselves the opportunity to see that the bad thing that we think is going to happen, that catastrophe that we think is going to happen, is actually very unlikely to happen. And B, even if it did, you probably could manage it. So we overestimate the threat and we underestimate our ability to cope with it. Myth: we don't have a choice in how we act. Truth: with awareness and practice, we can choose how we behave. When we are in the grips of a really heightened emotion, it can feel like it's impossible to do anything other than what our emotion is telling us to do. So if we feel angry, we just want to shout. If we feel scared, we just want to run away. And naturally, we might just do that. However, if we are able to learn to pause and reflect in that moment, easier said than done, but it is doable. We definitely do have a lot more control in how we show up in that moment, but we need to be able to give ourselves the headspace to do that. And a really, really powerful way to get that headspace in that moment when you're gripped by that emotion is to practice mindfulness. Getting really good at the skill of mindfulness enables us to choose whether we are going to make away moves or towards moves. Are we going to move away from the things that are actually meaningful to us, the things that we want to do and how we want to show up, or are we going to move towards it? Let's say that there's a promotion on the table and you really, really want it, and you manage to get the job interview. In the lead up to the job interview, you might be feeling so anxious. So your negative thoughts are going, I'm not going to get this job. Why did I even apply for it? Why did I even bother? And as I said, the anxiety rears its head. Now we have two options in that moment. We can make an away move, which could be calling in sick that day or withdrawing from the application process. Is that going to get you towards your goal of the promotion? Absolutely not. So that's why that's an away move. Or We could sit with the anxiety, because we can't just make anxiety go away like that. Sometimes we have to take it along with us. But we can sit with the anxiety and make a towards move. And what would a towards move look like? Go into the interview and taking the anxiety with you and showing up in the way that you want to show up despite of how you feel. So whenever you're in that moment, gripped by that uncomfortable emotion, whatever it is, and it might make you behave in a way that you wouldn't necessarily want to behave in, there's one question that I want you to ask yourself in this moment. Is this an away move or is this a towards move? Once you've figured that out, then you can decide how you want to move forward. When we're struggling with our mental health, it's so easy to feel like we're the only ones. We feel really alone, that there's something wrong with us and we shouldn't be feeling this way. And that actually adds to our distress. The reality is that all of us at some point are going to struggle with our mental health, whether on a big scale or a small scale. So I want you to know that A, you're not alone in this, and B, it's absolutely possible for you to turn things around. You've got this. Thank you for watching. You can get my book, You've Got This, in ebook, hardback, and audio by clicking in the link in the description below. Don't forget to click here to subscribe to Penguin to get more videos like this.